Hello everyone. In this lecture, we are going to see Interpretation and Forward of ASME Section 8 Division 2. Our flagship courses are Master Static Equipment Design and PVE Light, ASME Section 8 Division 2, and Master Welded Storage Tank, as per API 650. We have curated courses to suit your learning needs, so do visit our learning platform for more details on scootoid.thinkific.com.
Now I'll come to interpretation. See, ASME, is written by a committee, engineers, okay, working in industry, some working in, research organizations. So it's a human thing, right? So definitely there can be some errors or some misunderstanding which may happen with some clauses. So there is a provision. There is a form which you can fill to ask any query. If you are feeling that you need some clarification from ASME, you can fill these forms, okay? And you can, I'll share the link with all of you. I've made one, Word file where all these links are stored. So don't worry, you'll get that. So just click on that link. That's an online, they have made it completely online. So hope you can see it on the screen. Okay. So with this link, you can submit your inquiry. Okay. So there are lots of guidelines given how you should form your inquiry. And the main guideline is that you should keep it, that your question should be such that it can be answered by either yes or no. Okay. And the reason of that, they don't want to introduce further confusion. Okay. They don't want to change the code right away. They just want to say, whether whatever you have interpreted, that is right or wrong. Okay. So yes or no. That makes the life of ASME people easier because that can be replied, very clearly. If they have to write something, that becomes a very big job, okay? Because that has to go with multiple agencies before it comes. Okay. So sometimes they may write some short explanation of that answer. That is possible. Okay. But then your question should be such that it should be answered in either yes or no. If not, then you may not get the response. Okay. And if you want to see the earlier interpretation, okay, there is also one database for that. So that also you can refer. So you can search for the different clauses if ASME has issued any interpretation for that. Okay, so that is also a very good thing, because if you want to know, if something becomes confusing, then we can first come here and search whether something is available or not. So if not, then we can ask the query. Okay, so that is about interpretations. Okay, it's free of cost. Anybody can just fill that detail and send it. It's completely free of cost. Okay. So next is code cases. Okay, so there are lots of code cases which are introduced from time to time, and the intention is that it is also acting as a code. Okay, it's the extension of code. Once the application of its getting verified by some years, then it may be included in code also. Okay, so for that also there is a big database. You can see what exactly the different code cases are there. So there are a list of code cases. So with this link, you can see what is the list, what are the code cases which are created, because the first thing will be any job, if you're doing, any code case is applicable or not. Okay, that will be your first intention. So that has to be fulfilled. So if you go here with this link, code case search form, okay, here you can search the different code cases. Okay, so if I just search by without putting any data, so you'll get all the list, okay, of the code cases. So that is also a very good link, okay, which you can access. Okay, You won't be able to download the code cases, okay, but at least you'll be able to know that this code case is applicable to what. Okay. So that is also a very important thing. Now, a very important part, forward. Okay. So that is the gist of the code. Okay. So definitely we should read a little bit about it. So the first thing, code is not a handbook. Okay. So you cannot just open the code and start reading. You need engineering judgment, you need education to understand code. Okay, that is the intention of writing it. And it also says that, see, if you are following code, okay, so this is a minimum guideline given for any design. It does not say that if you follow, nothing will happen. It's the minimum guideline. If you feel for that design, anything additional needs to be done, any local guideline regulations are there which need to be fulfilled, please add that. Okay. It's a minimum. Okay. See, code is also a standard. ASME is what? Basically, it's a standard. When it becomes code, when it can be, mentioned as code, when it becomes code. See, basically, it's a standard. See, all of us follow it as a standard, right? We don't stamp. If you're not uh, doing a stamp design, basically, we are using it as a standard. When it becomes code, any one of you, when ASME becomes code? When it becomes compulsory based on regulation, when it is legalized. Okay, like in USA, it's a legal document. It's a code. Now, any client, yeah, when it is adopted by a country. Okay, when the client is saying that you have to make the job as per use stamp, now it is a kind of code for you. It's a mandatory thing. It's not a standard now. Okay, it's a compulsory thing. Okay. So that is one more thing about code. Any jurisdictional requirement, if there are, it needs to be followed. Okay, let us say you are making a job in USA. Okay, your end country is somewhere in Northeast. Okay, so you cannot say that I'll only follow ASME. You have to see what are the local codes, regulations, jurisdictions. You have to comply it with that. Okay, so that is also mandatory. You cannot take uh, you know you cannot hide behind that code that, okay, I have fulfilled it, nothing else is required. No, any jurisdictions, local regulations needs to be followed. Okay, that is above than that. Tolerances. Does ASME cover tolerances? Any tolerances are covered by ASME? Not. Nominal. What is the tolerance which is covered by ASME? UG 80. Okay, if you talk about ASME section 8, then UG 80. Okay. Now, why do you think they are talking about quality, okay, and not about other tolerances? What might be the reason? Some tolerances they are restricting, very particular about that, but not talking about others. That flatness of the cylinder, okay, the tolerances on length. Why? Why nothing about other tolerances? The answer may be lying in, if you read the third statement which I've written, only to support design rules, not maybe pressure boundary only. See, shell is pressure boundary. Okay, so now think it in that way. If ovality is changed, your formula which you have used, basically you have used the formula for cylindrical shell. Okay, you are designing a cylindrical shell but making a elliptical shell. So your formula itself will become null and void. So to maintain that, to prevent that, okay, so that the formulas which you are using, they have come out with the tolerances. So basically the tolerances which you see in code is to support the design. Okay, so the design rules becomes applicable. Okay, so that is one thing which you will see in forward. Other is like whenever a statement start with shall, it is a requirement, mandatory requirement. Should, it's kind of a recommendation given by code. You may follow, may not follow. May is kind of permission. You are given permission to do that. Okay, so understand the difference between these three. Okay, and whenever you read code clause, be aware what shall means, what should mean, and what may mean. Okay, this is very clearly written in forward, so use that. Permission from code. Okay, so you can consider it as from client also. Okay, it's permission by code to do that activity. Okay, so that becomes a weapon for you to handle client or any inspector. Okay,
For in-depth training and to learn more about these courses, register with the link in the description.